Since my diagnosis, every day has been different. It's like riding a wave. Sometimes the seas are choppy and you've got to fight to hold on. Other times it feels like you're floating in a gentle stream and you can catch your breath and take a look around you.
When I found out about my personality disorder diagnosis, it was like the puzzle pieces fitted together and things started to make sense.
The diagnosis for me was scary. I felt like I wasn't given enough information, and so I turned to Google. The misinformation I found online made me feel like I was a bad person, so I just spiraled from there.
It's fairly recent and raw, to be honest. I guess the doctor was nice, but no one wants to feel like there's a problem with their brain. I just want people to see me for me. I don't really want to be labelled.
I just wanted to hide away. I felt like everyone in the world's lives were continuing as normal and mine was on hold. I felt ashamed. I didn't want people to think of me as odd or to be a burden for my family.
Knowing that I have a diagnosis was a really good thing for me, as it meant I could take steps to get the support I needed.
All my life, I have felt like I never really fit in anywhere. No one talked about mental health when I was young. In my 30s, I was misdiagnosed as having depression and anxiety, and so that was confusing. When I received my correct diagnosis, I chose not to share with anyone, only health professionals, those in my support groups, and my husband.
When I was first diagnosed, I didn't have a job or a partner. In the absence of positive things in life, I felt like I had become the diagnosis and felt quite lost. In public, I wore a happy mask as best I could, but underneath the surface, things were bubbling away, like a volcano ready to erupt.
On bad days, I isolate myself from those around me. I get trapped in negative thought cycles and find it overwhelming to get on with daily tasks.
When I was young, I turned to unhealthy coping mechanisms like alcohol to mask the pain, but now art therapy, prayer and meditation help me a lot.
Some days I feel disconnected from my diagnosis, and other days I find it all-encompassing. Intrusive thoughts can be overwhelming, and if I have a cold, it can be really hard to find the energy to fight both the cold and manage my diagnosis.
The biggest challenge for me since my diagnosis has been me and the judgment I have put on myself.
Something that I've been struggling with is the idea that I might be dealing with my diagnosis for the rest of my life. But speaking with others in my support group, I know now that this isn't the case.
It's been around 5 years since my diagnosis. I am now working as a nurse. I am proud of all that I have achieved, though sometimes quite shocked at the indirect discrimination that I witness at work.
I find a lot of people to be really ignorant about the matter. The assumption that I'm abusive, manipulative or aggressive really winds me up. I care for people and things intensely, and sometimes that gets misunderstood.
I've seen a lot of negative comments about personality disorders online. Everyone has an opinion.
I haven't faced much stigma because I don't tell many people, especially not at work. When I was a patient in hospital for a recent operation, I felt like staff were forming an opinion of me because of my diagnosis and that they were treating me slightly differently.
A challenge for me has been the pressure from society to get a job. I like the idea of work and I'm a passionate person, but I can't get away from the fear that something awful would happen. I have morbid daydreams that, if provoked, I fear I may act on.
It's hard when family and friends don't know what to do or say, but I have found my personality disorder support group to be a huge help. I know there can be huge challenges for people with any significant communication needs on top of a personality disorder diagnosis, as most of the therapies available are spoken therapies, and that might not work well for everyone. It must be awful to feel as though you can't be heard when you are having a low period.
The biggest challenge for me was a few years after my diagnosis. Things had been going really well for a while, but suddenly I felt like I was drowning and things came crashing down like I had an invisible weight pulling me down. It was suffocating. But with time and support, taking one step at a time, things started to change and I started to feel like I could breathe again.
The therapies on offer give me a lot of hope and have made a huge difference to me. I feel like I've gone from surviving to thriving.
Hearing from others that things can improve over time gives me hope for my future. Meeting people who have gone on to have fulfilling and meaningful lives post-diagnosis is really inspiring for me.
For a long time, I believed the misinformation that things couldn't improve. And because I believed that, it almost became a self-fulfilling prophecy, which took me to a dark place. Now I know that things can improve, and I want others to know that too.
Talking to my CPN made a huge difference to me. I am happy that there is better support today for those with a diagnosis. I'm grateful that my grandchildren are growing up in a more informed and considerate world, but yeah, there's still room for improvement.
My mum and my twin brother have given me so much support. Just listening and showing empathy makes all the difference.
The thing is, there's a lot of support out there, but sometimes it's a bit of a postcode lottery in terms of what you have access to. I live in a really rural area and was initially traveling miles to get the support I needed. Over time, a good friend pointed me to local support groups closer to home, and that made a huge difference.
In recent years, a lot of support has moved online, and that has really helped me. Some days I don't have the energy to get out of the house, and having the flexibility to just switch on my phone and click a link means that I'm able to get the support I need when I most need it, in a way that's comfortable for me.
One-to-one therapy from a mental health professional has been the best thing for me. But I had to go private to dodge waiting lists, which I know I'm in a very fortunate position to be able to do.
The best advice I can give is that the diagnosis doesn't have to be a life sentence. Be open to change and don't let it define you.
Take the support offered to you. There are coping mechanisms that you can learn that will really help things improve. For me, sometimes it's smashing eggs in a bath. Maybe sounds unusual, but it's a real de-stressor. Exercise is good too. Going for a run is something that really helps me change mindset.
I want people to know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be hard, but there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Don't be afraid. You're not alone. And seek out information from reliable sources.
Don't listen to the stigma. It's scary and it fills your head with such negative perceptions, but it's not true. There are communities out there who understand what you may be going through. They're far more educated and likely to provide real support.